He swallowed hard. I appreciate the compliment, I guess. She does have a talent for matchmaking, Laura conceded. Though to be fair, I've always been partial to engineering myself. Me too, David admitted, relieved to find common ground. If I didn't have to live in this century, I'd probably be an astrophysicist. I think you'd be brilliant at it, Laura said warmly. David blushed, suddenly self-conscious. You're very nice, Laura, but you have to understand it's not going to work out between us. I mean, we're from different planets. Don't be silly, Laura dismissed his concern with a wave of her hand. You can get used to a lot. And besides, my dear boy, this isn't about Amira and me. It's about you. What do you mean? Haven't you noticed, David? Laura leaned closer, lowering her voice. This house is way too big for one person. I suppose it is. And all these boxes, Amira piped up, they won't unpack themselves. Precisely, Laura said with a sly grin. Think about it, David. We're practically family already. You're new neighbors, close enough to help in case of emergencies, but distant enough to not pry. Plus, imagine the children. Children? David echoed, horrified. Era, Laura chided. That's getting ahead of ourselves. But wouldn't it be wonderful, David? Amira exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. Healthy offspring, strong and beautiful, with matching violet eyes. Yes, let's not push it, Laura said, though her lips twitched upwards. Too much too fast. We want him comfortable first. Well, actually, David began hesitantly. This house is rent-controlled. I signed a long lease. I don't intend on moving. Laura stroked her chin thoughtfully. We might need to amend that. Amend what? David asked nervously. Nothing, Laura said quickly, sensing his unease. It was just a hypothetical situation. Hypothetical children running around. Hypothetical long leases. She gave him a reassuring smile. As I was saying, your home is too big for one human. But don't worry, we understand commitment. You'll never have to worry about an eviction notice from us. David blinked. Was she serious? Did she actually expect him to move in with her and Amira? Unlikely as it was, that prospect both terrified and intrigued him. He was an independent guy. He'd never even considered settling down, let alone with an alien. Yet here he was, captivated by a woman who literally came from another world. I appreciate the offer, Laura, but I don't think it would work out. Nonsense. Laura waved away his concern. Think of how convenient it would be, David. One shared bathroom, split utility bills, even pest control doubles as intergalactic disinfectant. But I'm sure your type doesn't do bugs. Actually, I hate insects, Laura admitted. So you see, David, this is perfect. Perfect for you, he corrected. I'm not ready for that kind of commitment. Are you sure? Laura pressed, studying his face. It seems like you might be lonely. Don't you feel isolated sometimes? Lonely? David felt his defenses crumbling. He had friends, plenty of acquaintances, even a handful of casual flings. But lately, nights in his empty apartment had grown colder, quieter. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the nagging feeling of having reached a dead end in his life. He shook his head, refusing to admit those thoughts to Laura. I'm fine. It's just not possible between us. Different worlds, different species. So, Laura tilted her head. Most human relationships fail because of differences. You know, cultural, societal, financial. But what if you consider the alternative? What if you look beyond those superficial barriers? I don't know what to say. Say yes, Ira blurted out. Say yes to happiness, to a chance at love, to proving the naysayers wrong. Humans are always so hung up on differences, but sometimes differences can be a good thing. Imagine the possibilities, David. Her enthusiasm was infectious, but David couldn't shake off the sinking feeling in his gut. I appreciate you both, but this is going to be difficult enough without adding interstellar complications. Complication, Laura corrected gently. That's all it would be. A complication. Think of it as adding spice to your life. Adventure, excitement, the unknown. Don't you want that, David? Don't you ever crave something more than what your life offers? Crave. The word struck a chord within him. Did he crave more? More than his routine existence, more than his unfulfilling career, more than the fleeting connections that seemed to be all his life had to offer. Could he risk embracing that complication, risking his heart for a chance at something extraordinary? The thought was terrifying and exhilarating. Laura squeezed his hand. Think about it, David. Just a little spice in your life. No harm in trying. She had a point. How much harm could come from simply letting someone into his life? Someone who accepted him, cared about him, even loved him, no matter how different he was? Suddenly, the silence of his apartment didn't seem so appealing. The thought of companionship, of sharing his life with someone willing to embrace his flaws and imperfections, that was tempting. It scared him, but it was also exhilarating. Looking into Laura's warm, understanding eyes, David found himself considering the possibility. Could he, a regular guy from New York City, fall in love with an alien who traveled galaxies for fun? It sounded absurd, impossible even, yet strangely exciting. His life had been so predictable, so safe, that the mere hint of adventure sent a thrill through him. He thought of Laura's words, spice in your life, a chance at love. Maybe it was time for a change. Maybe he was tired of the same old routine. Maybe he did want more. As he looked into Laura's eyes, he saw kindness, understanding, and a spark of something special. Could this be the answer he'd been searching for all along? Was he ready to take the leap of faith, to dive into the unknown and embrace the adventure that awaited him? The decision was a tough one, but as he looked at Laura and Amira, he felt a sense of connection he couldn't deny. Perhaps it was time to rewrite his story, to trade the ordinary for the extraordinary, to swap the mundane for the magical. Maybe he was ready for a happily ever after, even if it meant defying expectations and challenging norms. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the room, David knew he had a choice to make. Stick to the familiar path or embark on a journey into the unknown. One thing was certain, his life would never be the same. He was just beginning to realize.